All right, we're live. So, welcome back to Dapp University. So, what is going on with cryptocurrency right now? Literally, as I was sitting down to start prepping for this video, the price has just started absolutely tanking, and I literally had to change the topic of what I was going to talk about to looking at this and saying why is this happening? Okay, so we're gonna look at that first in this video, and then we're gonna resume our scheduled programming to actually getting into the topic of discussion that I had planned. We're gonna talk about that and a lot more. A lot of news has come out since yesterday. It seems like just this space is moving at a million miles an hour. So I'm gonna catch you up in this video. So before we get into that, if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step by step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got a bunch of people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Highs, Alexandria, Neron, Nardia, Taylor, Jack, Joey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's get into this. What is going on with crypto? We've seen this crazy price correction over the past several days. It's got a lot of people freaked out, kind of wondering, are we in a bull market still? Are we in a bear market? Well, like I've been saying for the past few days on this stream, it's going to take time for us to actually know whether that's the case. Now, my personal thoughts on this, I talked about this yesterday in my live stream. I don't like to give these answers too plain without a lot of context, but I'm still leaning towards that we are still in a bull market for lots of reasons. Lots of bullish catalysts still to come down the road for cryptocurrencies. One thing we're even going to talk about later in this video, okay? But that does come with a lot of nuance, a lot of context. I also have a certain degree of confidence in that assumption. I'm always open to the fact that assumption could be wrong, right? We could be proven wrong about those types of things. You never know for sure. You have to always deal with probabilities in these types of scenarios. But we want to look at what's going on with the cryptocurrency prices right now, because even if we are still in a bull market and not in a bear market, that doesn't mean we couldn't have some real short-term pain for the cryptocurrency markets. And I think we're experiencing a little more of that right now. So let's see what's going on here. So we do see the Bitcoin price, okay? We saw it, like I was saying, tank over the last several days and start to recover here. And just this morning, we were above, I think, $41,000, at least morning where I am. And we see this absolute knife downward. I was literally just getting ready for the live stream here, and then boom, we just nuked. We nuked by, we did $3,000 red candle on Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know what the time frame here is, but it was crazy. All right, same thing with the Ether price. You can check it out here. Everything, just this massive jump down. So what happened? Well, the biggest news indicator that I saw, well, first of all, I'll put it this way. We've seen a massive amount of FUD hit the market over the past several days. So what is FUD if you're brand new to crypto? It's an abbreviation. It's for FUD. Stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Okay, so either any or all of those things. And a lot of times you see this in the form of news. News will come out for people with large audiences or major news publications or something like that. Governments about fear, uncertainty, and doubt about cryptocurrencies. Okay, whether it could be, we've seen these themes come up over and over again, regulators cracking down on crypto, or so and so says something bad about crypto. The energy debate right now has a lot of FUD in the marketplace. Bitcoin's not environmentally friendly. It's never going to work. Bitcoin's a failure as a currency. All this type of stuff. Those are all examples of FUD. So we've seen lots of FUD hit the market recently, and there's all kinds of theories about FUD. You know what I mean? Some people have suspicions that FUD is all coordinated to try to manipulate markets and that type of thing, and some people say it's just a natural response to cryptocurrencies, and they do have an impact in the market, but maybe it's not. There's not necessarily a wizard behind the curtains making the puppets dance, so to speak. So we have seen a suspicious amount of FUD, I will say, concentrated over the past several days. And one thing we saw come out this morning was a story about, let's just pull up here. I want to get the story right. I had the story pulled up here, and I had to actually restart my computer here. So one of the major pieces of FUD that we saw come out this morning was this. We did see some more FUD between the last live stream, but this is the first one I saw this morning. It's Hong Kong regulators set to ban retail Bitcoin trading. Okay. So this would bar a lot of participants from actually touching cryptocurrency. So this puts a threshold, I believe, on people with portfolios less than $1 million. this would exclude up to 93% of Hong Kong's population. Okay, so Hong Kong regulators. So the question is that enough to, send the market into a big panic like this? Well, I think you have to understand about FUD is a lot of times it actually reveals structural problems in the marketplace. So, we talk about the cryptocurrency markets having quite a bit of leverage inside of them, and that's one of the reasons they are very volatile. There's not the only reason for the volatility. There's lots of reasons. But that is one extra thing. When you have a market with this much leverage where people can basically just, borrow against their cryptocurrencies, they can long with like 10x leverage, then basically it makes the market really fragile. So anytime there's the slightest panic in the marketplace, it's like a bubble that you can take and just pop. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the reasons we see these blow-ups happen along the way. It's because the markets are really fragile. And even if it's a small amount of FUD, sometimes these things can, pop a bubble that's already fragile. But when you see a massive amount of FUD, like over the past several days with the whole Elon Musk drama, the Bitcoin energy debate, all this stuff, we can see it actually have a huge impact on the price, like we've seen over the past, week or so. But it does also indicate the fragility of the market in the first place. Okay, so what's some other FUD that we saw over the past couple days, especially since our live stream yesterday? And again, this it does seem like a little too much FUD to be coincidence. So much stuff, kind of clumping up around the same time. What's the other one? Let's see here. So the next one is, let me pull it up on my screen here. Okay, so this one's about crypto transfers for the United States and the IRS. So let's see. Okay, so this is for Biden's crypto tax plan. Okay, so basically, let me pull this up here. So Biden's tax plan requires crypto transfers over $10,000 to be reported to the IRS. Okay, so I believe there's actually some more nuance and detail here than what currently, what just meets the eye from headlines. So I want to dig into that because this is one thing that got people panicked yesterday, but I think there's more to it than that. So what they're saying is basically like anytime you move cryptocurrency over $10,000, then that has to be reported to the IRS. So whether it's, it's not necessarily a trade. So currently, you always have to report your trades for your taxes, but now they're just saying like moving monies. Now, I think there's more caveats, so let's just pull out from the story here. So I don't want to misrepresent this. So let's see here. So this is a requirement for businesses to report cryptocurrency transfer of $10,000 or more to the IRS. Okay, so it's not, I don't see anything here necessarily about individuals, okay? With cash transactions, businesses receive crypto assets with a fair market value of more than $10,000 would also be reported on. Okay, so, I mean, this got people kind of freaked out. I'm not a fan of just, like, heaping on extra regulatory fat, but this doesn't look like the massive, like, scare that people think it is, where all individuals have to report every single cryptocurrency transaction over 10K. So the headline's enough to scare people off, but it doesn't seem as bad as it potentially could be based on what people's initial perception is. But it's one of those things where when markets get fragile and they get panicked, then just headlines like this can cause people to, do things they shouldn't. Or do things that aren't necessarily in their best interest for the long term. So let's talk about, should you worry about all this stuff? When we see this kind of coordinated, well, I don't know if it's coordinated or not, but you see all this FUD kind of come up at one time. We see this action on the price. Should you be worried? So what's my personal stance on this? Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm still leaning towards, we're still in a bull market. There's lots of upside potential for this space. Well, first of all, there is lots of upside potential for this space long term. Like on the long term, to me, nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. Are we building amazing technology that gives people actually good reasons to buy and hold cryptocurrency, and there are good reasons for that cryptocurrency to appreciate in value higher than what it is today long term? Nothing about that thesis has fundamentally changed. Now, going back to the 6 month to year time frame, what's my confidence in that? Still cautiously bullish. Okay. That being said, there's a confidence score with that. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows for sure. We'll talk about that more at the end of the video. I got a question yesterday that I want to address on that particular topic. But that's my big outlook. So in the short term, what should we think about? Because when we see all this stuff, when we see this correction, it takes time for us to know whether we're still in a bull market or a bear market. Source, you could draw some, you could do some sophisticated technical analysis and say, based on these indicators, if these indicators ever fail, then that means we're out of a bull market. But what will we likely see over the next, what's likely to happen over the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks, even months, right? So we've seen, let's just actually look at the Bitcoin price. I'm just going to draw it on a chart here. I'm not even going to use trading view. I'm not going to draw on the charts. Again, I'm not a very skilled TA person, but I do like to think of the big picture. I've watched these markets for years. I tend to see how they trade. I understand what's likely to happen. So basically, Bitcoin has done this. And we can already see it bounce. What about yesterday? You almost never see just like a perfect V-shaped recovery with a bottom like this. So, I would expect what's most likely to happen to me if we don't just leg down from here. There's always three possibilities. It goes lower, it goes sideways, or it goes up. Those are always the three options in crypto. So let's assume that it's not just going to go lower from here. If you look at the pattern kind of like this, that's kind of what Bitcoin did. We could see it like do this. You know what I mean? For a while, where like you go down here, people start to think, oh, losing hope, and then, oh, optimism, then lose hope, optimism, until we finally get out of something like that, right? So honestly, in my opinion, this is the most likely scenario. I think we're going to be in this uncertain period for a while, and that's actually an indication of the market psychology, because everywhere I look, people aren't totally sure what to make of this market, right? Everybody's kind of like, oh, we could be in bull, we could be in bear, and this price action right here would reflect that, okay? If everybody just thought we were totally bearish, then we'd see the price like going down. You know what I mean? And similarly, if everybody's like, no, we're just full on bull, like we'd go up. I know that contradicts some things I say whenever I say you have to be bearish and everybody's bullish and bullish, everybody's bearish. You have to know when to apply that. I think when you're talking about this type of scenario, this is a better indication of what the current sort of market sentiment is, in my opinion, okay? So that being said, should you worry? That's what's on the video thumbnail here. I mean, I'm not personally worried. If you do what like almost everybody in crypto advises you to do, because I don't, I'm not give financial advice on this channel, but I'm always okay with giving you caution, telling you to be careful. If you're in that situation where you're not putting in more money than you can afford to lose, and you have a really long-term time horizon, like that's my situation, I don't really personally worry that much about this. Now, whenever your portfolio starts to grow and you start to see those paper losses that kind of make you sick to your stomach, that does suck for sure on the short term. But on a long-term time horizon, it's just the cost of being in a really volatile asset that has a long-term upside potential. I put this on my Twitter the other day. Like if this market continues on and cryptocurrencies really, carry us all into long-term prosperity, you can't just let people sit back and tell you just got lucky, because you had to hold through all this stuff. You had to participate in the market and not give up when you see this like uncertainty staring you in the face, right? So there's always luck involved for sure. Everyone's lucky to be born at this point in history when you can participate in the cryptocurrency markets like this and, be alive during a seismic shift in how we, deal with financial-based technology. That, of course, is lucky alone. But you're not just lucky, right? You have to still take steps to invest your money in something like that and hold on to it and have conviction and not waver whenever you see stuff like this happen. So that's what I mean by that. So other stuff that I'm seeing about crypto in the past couple days that we're not really sure is bullish or bearish. We're going to talk about this, some different perspectives on it. Okay. So I put this on my Twitter yesterday. We're basically, excuse me. Sorry, my allergies are getting really bad here. I've got a lot of pollen and stuff kind of blooming around me, making my allergies act up. So something I saw yesterday come up. We're not really sure if it's bullish or bearish. Okay. So let me pull up on the screen here. See if I can just get it to play. So this was a tweet that came out from CNBC. So breaking: the Federal Reserve to issue paper this summer on possibility of issuing a central bank digital currency. Okay, so let me see if I can play this clip. I have had mixed luck with this in the past. Let's just give it a try here. Let me just try to play it like this. Well, let me try this way. Okay, let's see if I can do video theater.
Is taking another step at looking at the possibility of issuing a central bank digital currency, saying it's going to issue a paper. And that paper will be issued this summer that will focus on the benefits and risks of a central bank digital currency. The Fed's going to ask for public comment on whether or if it should do this thing and what the risks are. And Chair Powell saying in a video release that the Fed made available along with this statement that this represents the beginning of a thoughtful and deliberative process when it comes to thinking about a central bank digital currency. He does not say, for the record, the Fed has reached a conclusion to issue one. But here's some quick sound from what the chairman released in his video.
We are committed at the Federal Reserve to hearing a wide range of voices on this important issue before making any decision on whether and how to move forward with the U.S. CBDC, taking account of the broader risks and opportunities it could offer.
He also says the CBDC should be designed for general public use and should be a complement, not a replacement for cash. So, Kelly, hard to know exactly how big of a step this is. The Fed has been talking about, thinking about issuing a CBDC for quite some time, but now it's going to issue this paper, and that paper will be coming out in the summer.
All right, so let me just see if I can get my camera working back here again. Hold on one second. Okay, awesome. So the U.S. U.S. Federal Reserve talking about issuing a central bank digital currency. So what does that mean? Okay. So basically, this is a CBDC. So if you see that acronym floating around online, that's what it means, central bank digital currency. So let's break it down. What is a central bank? Well, basically, the central banks across the world, particularly the United States, are the ones that essentially, excuse me, control, the money supply. So central banks in the United States are a network of banks. You hear about the Federal Reserve, right? So basically, what is central bank digital currency? Basically, it's issuing a digital currency that's controlled by the central bank. So what is it used for? Well, you say there's lots of speculation on this. You don't really know exactly what it's used for. You hear it's not supposed to be a replacement of cash. There's these statements about it. We don't know how this would actually play out long term. If they said that they're interested in this, it's really vague, right? We don't know if they're going to do this. So there's mixed opinions on this, right? So first of all, the biggest fear that I personally have with a central bank digital currency is that it's basically going to be like an anti-crypto. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, think about why crypto was created in the first place, like Bitcoin in particular. So Bitcoin was created after the last major financial crisis in like 2008, right? As a response to quantitative easing that took into place, basically to create a currency that couldn't be tampered with, right? Basically, you have a peer-to-peer electronic digital cash system with a finite maximum supply, right, where you can transact without intermediaries, okay? And the central bank, it's an opposite response to loose monetary policy that's really common among central banks of the world, where basically we have a fiat currency that's not really backed by, well, it's loose, right? You can basically, create more money. There's no any constraints on that, right? That's one of the people's biggest complaints about it, right? And that it's controlled by a government, and that that's responsible for the inflation, the economic inequality, all that type of stuff people talk about. So that's in a sense like a central bank is sort of antithetical to the crypto thing, or crypto is trying to fight against that. And so when you see basically a central bank coming in to create something that works in their interest, it's probably going to be anti-crypto in value. And so my biggest fear is that it basically creates something that looks like a crypto, but is really just used to not preserve the values of crypto, which is basically autonomy, decentralization. It would, if anything, the incentive is to create something that is centralized and helps give more power to a government and not less, which is kind of the ethos of crypto in the first place. Okay, so yeah, that's sort of my fear about it. So what are some ways that could happen? Well, you could create something that's kind of centralized and just makes it easier to track. So like green cash right now, it's harder to track. You know, it'd be actually pretty easy for somebody to purchase your bank records, somebody very powerful to purchase your bank records and figure out all your transactions. It'd be a lot harder for somebody to figure out like how you spend all your cash. Now, a central bank digital currency could basically make it a lot easier to see every single thing you do in your financial life, okay, if you were to use it. You could also go away from having private bank accounts to having like, you know, Fed accounts where you literally bank with the Fed and then you use this digital currency and all your transactions just, you know, you have this extra layer removed and all you do is there. So those are my fears with something like this. And those have been one of my fears for a long time with blockchain technology, is that we don't actually end up creating something better in the long term. We just cater to generational preferences and, you know, create something that does not live up to the values that we set out with. All right. So those are very real possibilities. I want, you know, and we have to actively fight against those things if we're going to create something better for the long term. So that's one perspective on it. Another perspective is that it's bullish for crypto. Okay, so I actually want to read this from my good buddy here, Anthony Sassano, who does the Daily Gwei. He actually published this. I saw it whenever I was, you know, checking on Twitter right before the live stream here. So let me find it. I had a link. Let me just pull up his Twitter. So there's another perspective on this, and that it's bullish for crypto. And he actually laid out a pretty good reason for that. That I want to pull up in his newsletter right here. So you can go subscribe to his channel, check out his Twitter, the Daily Gwei newsletter. Excuse me. So basically, he talks about central bank digital currency, the same topic I'm talking about here. And his opposite sort of view is that it could be bullish for crypto. So why? So, well, he's saying it's bullish because it basically gives crypto legitimacy. All right. So there's actually a pretty good interview with Vitalik Buterin that came out a couple weeks ago talking about legitimacy in crypto being one of the strongest values and sort of legitimacy being one of the strongest, you know, forces in the world. But the fact that the Fed is even talking about doing something with crypto gives the technology or just crypto itself legitimacy. So he's saying like governments and nation states don't regulate things they intend to ban, right? So that's good. And that's exactly what we've been seeing play out here over the past few years in crypto. So you don't see that type of thing. There's always rumors about crypto getting banned, but the theme is usually that it's all talk and there's very little follow through. We talked about the FUD earlier, right? So basically what he's saying is, I believe that CBDCs work to legitimize crypto because essentially the existing legacy systems and institutions admitting defeat, okay? So it doesn't mean literal defeat. These institutions won't be going anywhere anytime soon, but they're signaling that they believe crypto is here to stay by creating things like CBDCs, okay? So he has a lot of thoughts on that, but those are the main ideas. So that's the bullish case, that basically it's them saying, all right, this crypto thing, we can't ignore it. We're not going to try to like ban it. We got to figure out how to use it. And that's bullish for crypto in the long run. And I guess if you have something like a CBDC, if we have the statements here that say we don't intend to do it with cash, this is not a cash replacement, if they don't intend to actually, do away with actual decentralized crypto, maybe we have this sort of centralized Fed coin or something, if both coexist, then maybe that also gives a greater value proposition to a decentralized cryptocurrency like what we're building, right? Maybe that gives it a stronger value proposition, and these two things, can coexist, and people who are able to do it. Check. So somebody's saying no sound in the chat. Sorry, I got interrupted, but I think somebody says don't stereo players, mono and left channel. So it's on the left side. Anyway, there's plenty of people. I'll go back and fix it after the stream. Anyways, but that's the whole idea. Okay. So, sorry, I got a little interrupted here with the technical issue, or people like, people interrupted in the chat here. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. So anyways, those are the, I got my train of thought. Sorry. Those are the two sides of the coin with central bank digital currencies. Okay. So some people think it's bullish, some people think it's bearish. Both of those things could be true at the same time. Where there's good and bad, but maybe it legitimizes crypto and then it actually enhances the value proposition for the decentralized tech that we are talking about. Okay. As long as they're able to coexist, that's long-term bullish in my view. But I still see the bearishness in creating something that's just like a centralized currency that's used to track people. You know what I mean? And not actually empower people. That's the bearish case in my opinion. So let me know what you all think down in the comment section below in the chat. Do you think it's bullish? Do you think it's bearish for crypto? All that type of stuff. So I want to answer a question that I got yesterday after one of the chats. You know, people asked me basically, what, you know, people ask me this question, like, they said, hey, are you buying more at these price levels? What's happening with crypto? So for me, I've said, no, I'm not. So why is that? Why, if I was a true believer in cryptocurrency long term, somebody asked me this, they said, if I thought that Ether was really going to 5 figures, if I thought that Bitcoins were truly going to 6 figures, I do think those things are happening for the record. I don't know what the time frame is on those things. So some people said like, hey, you know, if you think that's true, then why wouldn't you always buy? Like if you have money available to you. So that's a good question. And I actually want to go over that. So why would I personally not do that? So part of it is when I bought in. So I accumulated most of my crypto in 2020, some in 2018, 2019. But you know, basically, it's first of all, it comes down to risk reward. So the amount of money that I would have to invest now at these price levels to get like the same types of returns on, like, let's say a 2.5x to a 5x or something like that, or I think we could, you know, conservatively see crypto over the next relatively short period of time on these larger cap currencies that I believe in for the long term. The amount of money that I would have to invest to see the same types of actual dollar amount returns would be way more compared to what I invested, you know, when I was buying Ether at like $150 or Bitcoin like way below $10,000. Okay. So that's the first thing, is risk reward. And then, so that being said, like, what can you also do with that money that you're not investing in crypto? Well, for me, so first of all, it's about diversification. So I diversify outside of crypto. I don't know anybody who's super successful in investing over the long term, who's gotten very wealthy, who has had zero diversification and kept it over the long term. I mean, you will see people with no diversification when they're trying to grow, you know what I mean? But when you're also trying to like preserve and be conservative, there's always diversification involved. So basically that's part of the other reason, is diversifying, hedging. So I do invest in things outside of crypto. My main investment outside of crypto is real estate. Okay, so I've talked about that a lot in this channel. So the other thing is basically what you can do with money. So not just investment, but like at some point, you know, think about it this way. Most people, unless you're in this point where like, it depends on where you are. Everybody's different. Advice for different phases in their life, you know what I mean? So at this point, like, you know, if I was like on my mom's, you know, couch and like trying to scrape together, you know, the change to invest, all that type of stuff, like it might make sense for me to, you know, try to grind it out and like put every available, you know, penny that I could into crypto, try to get some return on the short term, midterm. That may be what I would personally do in that situation. Okay. But that's not really where I am now. Okay. So I think about it differently. And, but think about it this way. Somebody asked the question, like, why wouldn't you buy at every opportunity? Well, part of this is the reason, like sometimes you just want to use some of the money that you would not invest in crypto. Now, there's of course the conversation of like, should you be disciplined? Should you wait? Well, it doesn't matter. Like if you have like $0, you know what I mean? And you have to like eat beans and rice to subsist, and that's like your only way to do it, then that's one thing. All right. But think about it that way. If you have to literally put every single penny into that, and that's what you have to do, and you can't like, you know, ever eat anything besides that, and it affects your lifestyle that much, you have to ask yourself, like, is it that worth it? Like, would you literally invest every single penny into crypto? Would you maximize every single penny and only, you know, eat a Spartan, you know, diet for the next 10 years to try to that'd be the most rational thing, but would that be the thing that you actually enjoyed? Like, would your life actually be bearable for that long? It depends on your situation. You know what I mean? But I think for a lot of people, the answer is going to be no. And so that's part of the answer for me is no. Like I wouldn't go just like sell everything I have, and just like eat beans and rice for the next 10 years because I think cryptocurrency is going to the moon over 10 years. I do think that's true, but the most rational thing would be for me to maximize every single dollar that I ever had to put into crypto. But I'm not going to do that because I also like want to have some amount of life over the next 10 years. Now, if I was 19, you know what I mean? And you know, I was really just trying to get started. That may be a different story, but that's not really the case anymore. So I hope that clears up that question. So getting to the questions in the chat here. Somebody says, I eat the dip. That's awesome. So I'm not sure what happened with the mic here. I'll try to go fix that for next time. I think I do have an idea. I think it got converted to mono instead of stereo, but somebody says, be balanced. There is life outside of crypto. Yes, that is true. Somebody says they're 20. Yeah, so I mean, different people, you know, need different people make decisions based on different points in their life. You know, what your current situation is. You know, you have to decide for yourself. You know what I mean? That's one reason I don't try to give like blanket financial advice on this channel. Everybody's different. You know what I mean? Somebody said dip to 25K. Yeah, it might happen. We'll see what happens here. We're still at 37,000. Let's check back on the Bitcoin price here. 37,956. We still kind of got this big leg down there. Let's actually check on Twitter. See if anything else came up. So here's somebody else that said this. This is exactly what I was saying here on Twitter. The amount of concentrated crypto FUD in the last week has been incredible. Elon, China again, Hong Kong, U.S. Treasury. Who else wants to take a punch? That's exactly what I was just saying earlier. Okay, so this probably also has a lot to do with some of the FUD that is going on in the market right now. Chinese crypto whale selling more than 200,000 Bitcoins source. This says fabricated headlines. So I don't know if this is actually true. It's really easy to see bad information like this, but that's what he's saying is basically this account's pushing fabricated negative headlines. So I don't know if this is like the source of the panic in the market right now either. That's the real problem is, you know, you might be able to just generate fake news to move crypto markets without actually having to do anything for real. And somebody else here says, anybody else know why Bitcoin just dropped 4K in 1 minute? You know, because sources. It's crazy. All right, everybody, so that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel. That really helps these videos out so the more people can learn about blockchain. Really, especially when you smash that like button, it tells YouTube that you like these videos. That's how YouTube works. It's based on engagement, all right? If you like these videos and you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you're just like sold out, you want to get your hands dirty today. Maybe you want to change your career, work in the blockchain industry. You just want to get your hands dirty, see how the technology works. You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find any of my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. You just got to click on them and go through them. If you like those, you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, actually become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, you don't have to be an expert to get started today. Help people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.